I mean, that's EPL. Let's go into Formula One.
Yep, Formula One, second
Max,
last race of the year.
Yeah, Max wins the Qatar GP.
Yep.
Kind of I mean, it was a battle at the start. We'll get into it, but...
And good battle with the safety car restart too.
Yeah, yep. So, I mean, really, the main topic is the penalty.
Yeah, the Lando Norris penalty. Wow. Look, I think it's a bit of a slam dunk in terms of should there have been a penalty or not. He didn't lift. Double wave yellow. You've got to do it. That's the rule. For me, it's the 10-second stop go. I mean, that is... Get up to debate. Maybe some people will disagree, but I think that's way too harsh. I think 10-second stop go was effectively, especially they gave it to him straight after the safety car when the whole field was bunched, which meant that you effectively put him to last.
Yeah.
That is such a strong penalty for... It wasn't if it was like dangerous or there was a car parked. It was because for debris. Like the safety car should have already been out. It was just a bad situation by the race control. And then to give a 10-second stop-go penalty, I mean, Max didn't even get a stop-go penalty when he basically drove Lando off the track a month ago when that like just dangerous driving. Remember that race? I think it was way too harsh. I think a 5-second or even a 10-second penalty, not stop-go, would have been more than sufficient. A 10-second stop-go penalty is nearly as harsh as you can get.
Turns into 30, 35 seconds,
35 seconds as a penalty for failing to stop in a double waved yellow when in a situation that wasn't that dangerous. Like, it seems like such overkill, and it really ruined the race. And for McLaren, it puts him in a hot spot next week.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's just touching on that, the IQ play from Max to get on the radio and call it in. Like,
yeah, I mean, that was... Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't even get, seen if Max doesn't call it in, but, he's got that IQ to... He's seen the flag. He's lifted off,
and he's seen that Lando's caught up to him.
He's looked in his mirrors, saw Lando catches up, so he just puts the word to the team. Team goes, yeah, all right.
Yeah, as I said,
we'll ask the question.
I have no contention with the penalty. Like he did the wrong thing. He should have done it. Okay,
but you're just talking about the harshness,
the severity of it. The 10-second stop go. You've so you'd probably be able to count on one hand how many stop go penalties there've been this year.
Yeah,
and to give a guy a stop go penalty when he's coming second after a safety car, where it's going to, as you said, a 30-second penalty, it's going to make him come out last. It's just way too severe for a infringement that wasn't worth the penalty. And this now means that Ferrari have a great chance of overtaking McLaren next week. If Lando would come second, I mean, it's basically over. We're talking about winning the Constructors, which could be decided by the race control giving a penalty that just seems way over the top. I mean, I think it's a ludicrous decision. People may disagree that, the rule's the rule, but I don't know. For me, it's left a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm not even a Lando fan. Like, I'm not a McLaren fan. I've been outspoken. I don't agree with Lando in a lot of the things he does. But I think in this regard, it was way overdone, and they've taken sort of the race in their own hands here, race control. And, I mean, for the viewers, it's great because it means the next race is going to be exciting to see who wins the championship.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that close. McLaren are going to feel super hard done by it.
I'm so confused because they've got these rules in place, but then they look at the situation and they tinker the penalty. Like, you even saw after qualifying, obviously Max gets the one grid spot back, but usually it's a 3 or a 5. And so they minimized it because it wasn't a hot lap, but he was still on that racing line. So they're just tinkering with these.
Discretion.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Why would the fact that there's so much discretion in these penalties? Why would they use that discretion to give the harshest penalty to Lando?
Yeah.
When the infringement wasn't that bad? Like, we've seen way worse infringements throughout the year. Contact, like actual dangerous driving. This is someone who just didn't let his foot off the accelerator down the straight because of a bit of debris. I said it's a different thing if there's a car sitting off to the left. It's like, okay, but it's just a bit of debris on the road. Yes, he did the wrong thing. Give him a 5-second, 10-second penalty. Okay, cool. Got to cop that. But a 30-second stop-go penalty, which, I know it's not 30 seconds, but effectively it is way over the top. And I'll go to my grave believing that. I said I'm happy to listen to anyone who thinks otherwise, but I just think this ruined the race, really. Lando probably could have given Max a run for his money for the lead, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
Max had it under control. McLaren probably had the faster car, I would say.
You saw after when he was working through the field afterwards that he was at ridiculous pace.
Yeah.
So, it's great for next week's race because it's going to make that very interesting and makes the gap a lot closer.
Yeah.
But it seems a bit artificial to me. You hope that it wasn't done for that reason. Like, you hope that it wasn't done as a, this will be good, let's get Ferrari and sort of make that last race closer, similar Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Hamilton-Max situation. But for me, I struggled to find why they decided to make the penalty a 10-second stop-go.
Yeah.
It's like, what other reasoning can you have? And you leave it open for people to speculate that it was done for a commercial reason rather than a sporting reason.
Yeah. I mean, McLaren's probably lucky that Sainz was a part of that debris and he gets the puncture, so that probably...
Well, I was thinking that when that happened, I'm like, man, that debris, the race control's decision not to call a safety car is literally going to cost Ferrari the chance to win the Constructors next week.
Yeah, so it kind of hurt both teams, really.
And then 10 seconds later, or a couple minutes later, all of a sudden, they give Lando the 10-second stop-go. Maybe that had something to do with it, the fact that Sainz went over the debris and they were feeling guilty for not calling a safety car. I don't know. It just seems off. As soon as I heard that penalty, even Jenson Button on the commentary was like, he didn't realize it was stop and go. I think he just assumed it was a regular 10-second penalty.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed like, what? We've barely seen any stop-go penalties this whole year. And there's been infringements for not stopping under double wave yellows, and I don't think that was a stop-go penalty. So, like, why this one in a case where that wasn't even as bad? Like, there wasn't a car, there was no danger to anyone. It was more just a danger to the drivers rather than a danger to anyone else. So, yeah, it was very strange all in all, and I do hope McLaren can win the Constructors next week, because it would feel quite sour if Ferrari beat them by 2-3 points just because of what this. Literally because of the decision of the stewards to get
Abu Dhabi, so 21-point difference, I believe, between the two constructors, but
would have
so
been like
it's gonna
plus.
So it's gonna have to be McLaren would probably have to fall off like a lot, like they would have to at least be in the 8s to 10s for not to win it, I would say.
Not really. I mean, if Ferrari will basically have to win. They'll have to one car.
Ferrari will have to be
you
up.
get 25 there.
Yeah.
Yet another guy if they come first and third. Let's say that car is very fast, but they're expecting it to be 25 and 18. That's 43 points. How far ahead are they?
21.
21. So if they get 43, that means McLaren will have to get over 23, and that means 23 points. That's even if you come fourth and fifth. I don't know if that's 23 points.
I think it is.
I think it goes 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8. Then 9, 8, I think. So, yeah, maybe 5th and 6th or 4th and 5th. But, if one has a car problem, like, because of this penalty, it's left it open now where McLaren will have one mistake, like a car engine failure, run into someone in the first turn, get a penalty, have a bad pit stop. Any of the multitude of things that can happen in an F1 race.
So much things can happen.
So many. If one of those things happen to one of their cars and Ferrari perform well, obviously they have to perform well, but if they do, then that's it.
Yeah.
If Lando comes second in this race, they have a massive buffer, and they would have to both cars would have to collapse, which is a lot more in McLaren's favour. Yeah. So it's a hugely important penalty, and I hate seeing the stewards in race control decide these things. I said that was the problem with Abu Dhabi for Lewis and Max. That it felt like the stewards had such a hand in, or the race director effectively had such a hand in the outcome of that race. You really just want the drivers and the teams to settle it. You want the stewards to just have a blanket rules to just have less of an input as possible. But yet today it felt like the stewards effectively decided that the championship battle was going to be closer than it should have been because of the penalty they gave.
Yeah, even if you just consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all anyone can hope for is consistency. I think in any sport
Where the hell
that
did
people
they press
are
the
talking
wrong
about.
button? Did they mean to press stop-go penalty? Did they mean to just press the 10-second? It's like, oops, wrong penalty. We can't go back now. Like I said, we've seen barely any stop-go penalties. Yeah. Why would they all of a sudden give a stop-go penalty for an infringement that is not anywhere near the worst penalty, like the worst infringement we've seen this year? Yet they give it nearly the most severe penalty we've seen this year. I mean, it's insane. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to some of you listening, but I said I'd love to hear your rationale because I can't make sense of it.
But as a Formula One fan, it's just going to be a last race sort of
There is one more thing I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. I am not a fan of the McLaren switching cars over to like manipulate who wins the races. Like, we're Australian, we love Piastri, but it's such an empty win. Like, why are we switching for? Oh yeah, I lead the entire race, and now at the finish line, I'm just going to give Oscar the win. I understand they did it because they're trying to like fix. Oscar gave Lando the win earlier, but I'm just not a fan of these teams basically artificially manipulating the positions they're in. Like, let the drivers race. I understand it's a team sport, but it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth when these teams are deciding, like, in the middle of the race where they should finish and give DRS help and all this sort of stuff. It's like, it just seems for me like it's not in the spirit of the sport. I don't know how you feel about it.
I'm so glad you brought this up. Like, I don't know if I've got some biases towards the personalities of I'm talking about Lando, but it seemed like I got the taste of, okay, you'll help me again when it comes down to it, maybe in a Grand Prix where there's a bit more points on the line. Like, I'm kind of just like, why? Like, it's not real racing.
Yeah, it's a sprint.
I guess, like, I know there's, like, they're a team. They're trying to get maximum, but even then, they're, again, the same amount of points. Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, it seemed like a sort of a face saving, like, oh, Oscar helped me out another race, so I'm going to help him out this race. But it's not that important. It's like a sprint race where it's like a 1 point difference. And it doesn't actually change anything. It's just like, oh, I'm Lando.
And the team was telling him, just stay as you are. Yeah, like the team told, and then he just.
It seems as though it was just a thing where he's like, okay, I can get some positive PR here. I look good.
That's what makes me think of it as a.
But yet it doesn't actually cost anything. Like, it's like it's one of those weird, like, are you going to do that in the real race? Like, why wouldn't you do that on a Sunday? If you really want to, like, give Oscar the win, why wouldn't you do it on a Sunday? Like, for me, I just don't think it should be done full stop. Like, I don't think there should be any of this switching around, like, deciding who gets to win, who doesn't win. You know, unless, one car, I only accept it when in the race, say, for example, one car's on fresh tyres, the other car's on old tyres. You want to switch them around so that the guy on the younger tyres can get ahead. Understand that. But deciding who wins the races by team orders is just so not in the spirit of the sport. And as you said, for Lando to do it in a sprint race like that just felt like it was just not in good taste. Like, it didn't feel like it was hey, Oscar, I appreciate you, for what you've helped me out this year. It was like I'm going to do it in a situation that doesn't really mean anything so that I can gain some positive reinforcement or help later down the track. Like, it just left a bad taste.
And that's why it doesn't help that argument as to, like, it sort of diminishes the sprint race value. Yeah, like, people are saying, okay.
And the way it was done, like, when you're coming down the home stretch to win the race and all of a sudden the leader's stopping and letting another guy win, it's like, are we not racing to win? Like,
and third place was close. Yeah, like, it's not like it was.
No, it's just a bad look. I think at the end of the day, winning and the individual drivers should have the desire to win every race possible.
Yeah.
And I understand there is team dynamics and all this sort of stuff, but it's a sport. Yes, it's a team sport, but it did not matter in the slightest to the team because it was a 1-2 either way. If anything, it risked more for the team because the guy coming third could have come through and come second or first. Yeah. So it actually risked more for the team. It wasn't better for the team in any way, shape or form. It was sort of like just a personal goal of Lando to generate some positive publicity.
I see motorsport as a driver, car and team sport, but team as in their internal car team, not his partner, not the partner's team. Like, I just see motorsport as that. I don't know.
The team's job is to maximize the points, okay? Who wins the race should be up to the drivers. The team should not manipulate which driver wins and which driver doesn't win. As long as they're maximizing the points they could get, as I said, they're letting the faster car go through or whatever so the team gets as many points as they can. Outside of that, they should just let the drivers drive and keep the competitiveness going. You don't want, instead of 20 drivers on the track, effectively 10 drivers on the track because all the drivers are merging into one. Like, that's just not how the sport should go. And the drivers of old would be looking back on this and going, what? Like, can you imagine Senna or like these older guys looking back and going, letting a teammate go through and win a race? Like, no, that's literally why you drive, to win the races.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bad habit to start getting into. Like 100%. These teams, we've spoken about this before, F1 teams micromanaging everything in the race, like managing the DRS range, when we should swap around, which car should win.
Who should come into the pit first.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think all these artificial manipulation is just, I understand the analytics will probably back it up because, you want to make sure you're maximizing every chance. But at the end of the day, it's racing, it's driving, it's competitiveness. You want these race drivers to have the competitive edge to go out and win every race. You don't want to sort of temper their competitiveness by turning them into just glorified babysitters of the cars. Like, you want their personality, their competitiveness, the reason why they're in there in the first place, to shine through. Now, yes, you don't want it to go too far where they're running their teammate off the track like a Esteban Ocon, but you want that fine line where the drivers are doing everything they can to win within the rules that which the team set. Yeah. I think that's the sweet spot. You don't want to go beyond that where you're fighting each other, but you want to go too far the other way where the team is literally deciding exactly what happens, what you're doing on the track. The drivers have to have some autonomy. So yeah, I don't know. That's where I fall on it.
I think it's well said. I'm on the same page as you there.
Yeah, I just watched that. It left such a bad taste in my mouth, and so I'm not the huge Lando fan, but yeah, just for Oscar, it's like, okay, I won, but I didn't win. Like, everyone knows he didn't win. Like, it's doing it on the last corner. He's like literally left it as late as he possibly could. Like, it's not as if he did it 2 laps before and let Oscar drive away and win. It was literally, I won this race, but I'm going to let Oscar come through and win and get the win, even though I really won the race. Like, it's such an empty...
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It's an empty gesture. Yeah, and I don't think it's in the spirit of the sport. And I said, Lando fans will say, good on him for returning the favour to Oscar, but I would just respond and say, did he really return the favour? Did he really give Oscar anything except some embarrassment for winning a race he didn't actually win? I'd say no.
Yeah.